Hey Giants fans, welcome back to Giants Latest. Boy, do we have some fun stuff to talk about today, because I know for certain one thing, and it's that last night and today, Giants fans, Eagles fans, and Commanders fans are laughing their asses off as this whole trade went down. So in case you somehow missed this news, Micah Parsons was traded to the Packers. Yes, that Micah Parsons, number 11, the edge rusher on the Cowboys, the All-Pro, the Pro Bowler, the future Hall of Famer, legend, only player in the NFL who's ever been compared to Lawrence Taylor. Yeah, that guy got traded to the Packers for 2 first-rounders and defensive tackle Kenny Clark, who literally no one has ever heard of except maybe Packers fans. Yeah, and there's so much to discuss with this. The first thing is that I do actually feel a little bit bad for Cowboys fans, because as Giants fans, we've been through this in a sense where we traded away our best player at the time, which was Odell Beckham Jr., and the fan base was furious, right? Obviously, we have no control over this. We all wanted OBJ, even with his antics and whatever, we all wanted him to be a Giant for life, and we just wanted him to work through it. Now, the difference here is that we sent him to the Browns, who's at least in a completely different division. The Cowboys traded him to the Packers, a team that has beaten them in the playoffs, and a team that the Cowboys cannot seem to beat. And now you just made a division rival better, which again, as Giants fans, we all know how this went with Saquon, but at least we didn't trade him there. Number 2, I hope that Jerry Jones lives forever. I truly do. This man does not give a shit about winning. He doesn't. He paid Dak $60 million. He paid CeeDee Lamb. He brought in George Pickens. He paid Zeke Elliott. This man is willing to pay everyone except Micah Parsons, who's out of all of those guys, probably the only one who should have been paid. I hope that he uses his money towards being cloned or something, some drugs that'll help him live forever, because that would benefit all of us. Would love to see it. Number 3, he is out of the NFC East. And yes, we're going to have to deal with him on week 11. I don't care. We're going to have to deal with him once a year instead of twice a year. And Micah Parsons has been one of the biggest reasons as to why the Giants have been getting smoked by the Cowboys twice a year every year, and now it's not going to be a problem. There are other problems that we're going to have to deal with on the Cowboys, but we all know this, okay? When you lose a player like that, a leader on the team, a leader on the defense, literally one of the best players on the team, and no question, best player on their defense, that locker room is going to suffer, and that team as a whole is going to suffer. So now, instead of us going week 2 into Dallas and knowing that, Russ Wilson is going to have to deal in this offensive line with Micah Parsons, it's not a problem anymore. And by the time week 11 rolls around, we're either going to feel like this Giants team is competitive enough that maybe Micah Parsons won't destroy us, or we're going to feel like this team sucks and hopefully Jackson Dart can deal with Micah Parsons. And at that point, if we're out of the playoffs, or it's looking like we're going to be out of the playoffs or whatever, it is what it is. We can deal with Micah once a year. Twice a year and in the division is a completely different scenario. I love every bit of this. I love it. I think it was fantastic. Something else that I saw said that in the last 6 or 7 years, all of the Packers' first round picks have been at least, I think it's number 20 or higher. The Packers are not a team like the Panthers, where they suck quite a lot and are more likely to have a top 5, top 10 pick. Those 2 first round picks that Jerry got, have fun, honey. They're not top 10 picks, which is what they should have gotten for Micah Parsons. The whole thing's unbelievable. I'm happy that Micah got his money. I think that he deserves it. I think $47 million a year is absolutely insane. Good for the Packers, willing to pay that. But Micah is a damn good football player. As Giants fans, we all know, we all wanted him. We were all devastated year after year that we have to watch this guy play for a division rival. And he's just destroyed us pretty much every time we have played them. And now that's it. We can get over our devastation of the fact that Micah Parsons was not only not a Giant, but was a Cowboy, and we had to play him so often. And now you guys, us, the New York Giants, we have the best pass rusher in the NFC East. Abdul mother effing Carter. Oh, I can't wait for week 1. And I can't wait for week 2, because we are going to beat those Cowboys' butt. You watch. I don't want to hear it. We're going to beat them. I think I'm going to get a little crazy now. I think we can go 2-0 going into the Chiefs game. I do. I think we can. Terry McLaurin is back. We're going to talk about this next week when we preview the Commanders game. But Terry McLaurin is back, but he's 30 years old. He missed a hell of a lot of practice. So is he going to be the number one target for them week 1? I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. Let's go ahead and talk about the practice squad, because in the last couple days, there have been a whole lot of changes throughout the Giants 53, the practice squad. Players are getting poached. It's getting all sorts of crazy. So let's discuss this. We're going to talk about the players that the Giants brought in first. So we talked about the safety and the cornerback that they brought in couple days ago. Now they signed linebacker Sways Bozeman and safety Patrick McMorris to the practice squad. So Bozeman, if his name sounds familiar to you at all, I felt like when I heard it, it rang a bell to me. He was on the Chiefs practice squad last year as an undrafted rookie, and then McMorris, the safety, appeared in 6 games on special teams as a rookie for the Dolphins last year. So again, 2 younger players who are early on in their career, but special teams we know is going to be a big focus for these players and the guys that they bring in. So again, they're continuing to add more to this team. Players coming in and out, going left and right, and this is what it's going to be, for the next few months. So I don't really think that there's much to note about those guys. Like I said, because they're young, they're undrafted. They were undrafted free agents. They only have a year in the league, and special teams, I think, is the biggest thing that these guys are going to have the option to kind of prove that they deserve some playing time on, as opposed to getting snaps with the ones on defense. Like, I don't think these linebackers and safeties are getting in there, week 1 or week 2 with Bobby O. So it's more about special teams, more about having more bodies there, more flexibility, more capabilities, and more talent, seeing what they can do. So on top of that, they also brought in a bunch of players for workouts, one of them being a Canadian quarterback. So let's go ahead and run through the full list of all the players that they brought in. If you guys went to any of these colleges and are familiar with these players, drop some info about them in the comments. I was looking for any South Carolina guys. I did not see any. But this is some info on the players that they brought in. So Dorian Thompson-Robinson was part of the tryouts. He was one of the quarterbacks. And then they also had Isaiah Bolden, defensive back from Jackson State, McClendon Curtis, guard from Chattanooga, Darian Dalcourt, guard from Alabama, Zach Davidson, tight end from Central Missouri, Taylor Elgersma, this is the quarterback from Canada, Luke Grimm, wide receiver, Kansas, Maxon Hook, DB, Toledo, Kingsley Jonathan, defensive end, Syracuse, Jacoby Keeney James, wide receiver from UMass, Jack Kuntz, tight end, Old Dominion, Caden Prescorn, tight end, Ole Miss, DeAndre Prince, defensive back, Ole Miss, Ethan Robinson, defensive back, Minnesota, Caden Stearns, defensive back, Texas, and Marcus Yearns, running back from Delaware. Now, out of all of those guys, they had one more player that they brought in for a workout, and he ended up signing to the practice squad. So this is tight end Kadir Ismail. He's 6'7", 232 pounds. Last season, he was on the Ravens practice squad. Again, another undrafted free agent who was on a practice squad, and the Giants bring him into our practice squad. He is coming out of Stanford. One thing that I think is interesting about this, and this is a note from Dan Duggan, he has played 4 different positions throughout college, and now since he's been in the NFL, he's played quarterback and wide receiver in college, and then when he got to the NFL, he went from wide receiver to tight end. So the good news here is that he must be a pretty good pass catcher if he used to be a wide receiver, so I think that's good. They're probably going to work on his blocking capabilities, but he's a guy that was brought in. He's on the practice squad right now. And one more note about the practice squad was Corey Black. After the Giants went ahead and cut him and Gunner, they added Gunner back to the practice squad. He cleared waivers. Corey Black cleared waivers and was going to sign back to the Giants practice squad, and then ended up signing with the Jets. So Corey Black, 7th round draft pick from the Giants, is no longer on the Giants. He's on the Jets, which is interesting. This is what happens with the practice squad. And, I know there was a lot of talk about this with Tommy DeVito, is that he's going to clear waivers and the Giants are going to sign him back. But sometimes the players get offers from other teams and they decide to go elsewhere. I believe that they are allowed to yes or no that. So I don't know if Corey got a little bit more money or a little more promise there. The thing about the Giants is, As of right now, they have 6 or 7 different cornerbacks on the 53, and the Jets only have 5. So if you're Corey Black, you're probably thinking like, all right, well, the Giants already have how many corners? Like, I'm going to have to try and beat out some of these guys. If I go to the Jets, there's much less competition and a higher chance that I could make a 53. So I think that's probably was a big part of his thinking as well. And it was the same thing with Tommy DeVito, right? Like, at this point, he's not beating out Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart, or Russell Wilson. They're not trading any of those guys, which is why they didn't keep DeVito. And, DeVito went to New England, so we'll see how he does there. But let's move along here and talk about Andrew Thomas, because we have a couple updates from him about, what really is going on there and what is the deal with the timeline. So this is all from Dan Duggan, who spoke to Andrew Thomas with some of the other beat writers in a smaller scale setting and basically got some good information and insight to him as to what's going on with the practice schedule, how he's feeling, and what he thinks about week 1. Now, this I think is the most interesting because this was not public knowledge until now. Andrew Thomas had another surgery in April to have the screw removed from his foot. So the screw was inserted in October when they did the initial surgery. And at the time, the doctor supposedly told Andrew Thomas that there was a 50-50 chance that it was going to have to get removed. So Thomas said that it was causing discomfort. So they ended up removing it in April. So that's why, where maybe the thought that, he was definitely going to be ready for week 1 and now there seems to be some question marks about it, that seems to be a big part of the reason, is that his rehabbing and things like that probably got postponed because of the surgery to remove it. So this is another note too. Thomas already had his other ankle scoped early in the offseason. That was the same ankle that had been surgically repaired multiple times and on the other leg from his Lisfranc injury. He said the scope was planned even before the injury just to remove scar tissue. He said that ankle is fine now. Thomas also said it's been an eventful offseason. So obviously dealing with some stuff there with both feet. And, I think I've seen some panic on the internet since Andrew Thomas spoke to the media, because he basically said in his presser, like, he doesn't want to rush back to be ready for week 1 if he doesn't feel that he's 100% ready to put his best play on the field. And he doesn't want to do that because he doesn't want to risk the injury. And he also wants to play 100% when he's out there for his team and for his quarterback, which is what we should all ask, right? If that means we don't see Andrew Thomas until week 3, then so be it. When Andrew Thomas is on the field, I want him to be the all-pro, Pro Bowler left tackle Andrew Thomas that we know and love and that this team has been desperately missing. So I don't want to rush him out only to have him come out then at week 4 because he wasn't fully healed, he doesn't look like himself, and now he's dealing with another injury or soreness or anything related to the foot. So we don't want to deal with that. This is the best case for him and for us as the fans and for the team as a whole. So I know there's still going to be some concerns about it, that possibly we're going to be seeing Marcus Bowe or James Hudson out there at left tackle week 1. And I get that, but I think the reality is that Andrew Thomas is in a good place. He's still rehabbing and he's getting there day by day. And now let's talk about a little bit of what his plan is, because this is what he also told Dan Duggan and some of the other beat writers. So yesterday was Thursday. They had the day off yesterday, I believe. So he said that he was planning to run tomorrow. So this was posted from Dan yesterday, Thursday. I'm getting all my days mixed up now because we're getting close to the regular season. So Andrew Thomas was planning to run today because he had yesterday off, but the rest of the team was off yesterday, I guess, until Monday. But he's planning on running today, Friday, to see how it goes. He said it'll be an important checkpoint to determine Thomas's participation level in the team's next practice, which is not until Wednesday. That will be the last full padded practice before the opener. Thomas only participated in Indy and on one-on-ones yesterday, individuals. So he still hasn't taken a full speed 11-on-11 rep. Thomas has been encouraged by his progress, but time is running low, of course, for him to be ready by September 7th. It's only 9 days away. He's weary of rushing back and either not being at 100% or missing more time with the setback. So, like I said, he's not looking at week 1 as a deadline. He wants to feel like he's 100% and ready to go. So he's back to being that Andrew Thomas that we all know and love on the football field. So that's where we're at with Thomas. I would say let's still take it day by day. Wednesday, I think, is going to be the biggest deciding factor as to us getting some sort of information as to whether or not we're going to see Thomas on Sunday. And of course, the injury report comes out Friday, a week from today, before the game. So next week, we are talking all about Giants versus Washington. Football season is here, guys. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. And we'll be back next week with more.